Penny, it's lovely to have you back. I don't often invite guests back, but your topic is so relevant and important at the moment. And also, it's great. It's great free therapy for me. I like a bit of therapy. So tell me, please, before we start, what is mental toughness in your words, for you?
Yeah, so my words might be slightly different to the academics. So the academics will say mental toughness is our ability to cope with stress, pressure, and challenge of life. And I can't argue with that. It's just that I didn't know that was a real definition, that it was a proper thing. Mental toughness for me is about getting your head down, getting focused, getting it done, bouncing back time and time and time again. And I didn't know that I'd been developing my mental toughness since I was a kid, until I started really deep diving into mental toughness over the last few years, thinking, gosh, I have qualities of it. Obviously, none of us, we all have down moments where we think we're pretty tough, and actually we realize we're just human after all. But yeah, mental toughness for me is about resilience and confidence and focus and commitment and determination and all the things that everybody needs loads of right now.
So would you say resilience is different and is part of mental toughness, or are they similar?
Okay, so some would say that resilience, and I don't really like getting caught up in the tiny definitions of things. I don't think it's particularly helpful, but some will say resilience is doing something because you have to. Mental toughness is doing something because you want to. So it might be tough and you bounce back because you've got no choice, but you might be tough and bounce back because you're really excited about overcoming something. So that might be a sort of technical academics difference, but it's pedantic to me. Resilience, mental toughness, it's all, to me, it's the same thing.
Actually, I like that though. I like the fact that the way you've defined it, that mental toughness is doing something that you actually want to do.
Yes.
So I've got lots of questions for you here. So, but my first question is, can you build mental toughness, and can you give us some tips on how to do that? I mean, that's the big question, right?
Okay. So if I asked you, do you think you're mentally tougher today than you were 10 years ago? What would you say?
I'd probably say I'm not a good person to ask, because I'm going through a hormonal issue at the moment. So potentially no. But possibly. I'm more experienced now. So that, I suppose, will help with mental toughness.
Completely. Everything we live, breathe and experience is going to inevitably build our mental toughness. I would suggest you are much mentally tougher. You're probably more focused, more committed, more confident than you were 10 years ago. And you might have dips. We are all human and we all have emotional dips. But I would suggest you are mentally tougher because of the things that you've experienced. So absolutely, every single person can build their mental toughness, and there are all sorts of ways to do it. There are different aspects to mental toughness, and so you would use different experiential techniques to build. So if it was your confidence was low, but your commitment was high, as in, I don't really think I'm very good at this, but I'm going to get it done anyway. That would be, we work on your confidence because your commitment is there. You're prepared to see something through. So depending on who it is and what the issues are, there's absolutely loads of stuff you can do to develop mental toughness. And right now, people don't realize they're all doing it right now. They're all going to come out of this mentally tougher. And well, I say all, some people will really thrive out of this and some people will barely survive. And unfortunately, as we know, an awful lot of people will lose their lives. But ultimately, everyone will develop in some way coming out of this. It's inevitable.
Okay, so we're recording this at the time of lockdown, and we're going to be issuing it while it's lockdown. We may repeat it further down the line, but I think the lessons that we learn from this are really useful. So tell me, how do we motivate ourselves when when perhaps we're not feeling particularly motivated?
Yeah, and I think you have to sort of take a massive step back on your life. And the reason you're probably not motivated is because you've lost the focus that you had before. When we're focused, we can remove distractions and we're committed and we're excited about something. The sort of motivation, I mean, motivation isn't a thing, is it? You can't hold it, you can't buy it from Amazon, and you can't photograph it. It's just a thing, an abstract thing that lives inside of us. So if you want to maintain motivation, I think you need to maintain focus. So right now it's difficult, isn't it? Because actually nobody has any idea what's going to happen. So really difficult to make plans, really difficult to focus. But that's ultimately the secret, I think, is to remove distractions, really understand what is it I want, and more importantly, why am I chasing this thing? What's it actually all about? What is it that it's fulfilling in me? When you can start to answer those questions, everything can then start to slot into place. But I think not many people spend any time actually thinking, why am I working so hard? What is it I'm trying to achieve? What is my purpose, my goal, my mission, whatever you want to call it? Once you've nailed that, your motivation starts to land in place, and then your mental toughness just naturally develops because you're so excited and committed. You know, you'll batter obstacles out of your path because you won't let them stand in your way. You'll find a way through everything. So I think motivation ultimately comes down to just understanding what it is you want, why you want it. Why am I doing this?
Do you know what? That's amazing, because before the start of this lockdown, before this entire experience, what I thought was important today is not important. And I have had a bit of that navel gazing, and I'm reevaluating what really matters and why I'm doing things. So this speaks incredibly personally to me. So thank you for that.
It is personal to you, but you're going to find an awful lot of people having time, so much time to reflect right now. You know, we're allowed one run, one walk every day. That's just the most beautiful opportunity to reflect. We've got space in our heads. You know, we've spent all of our lives saying, I haven't got time, I haven't got time. We have time. And sometimes that's really an ugly thing for people, because too much time means they actually have to sit and think and work stuff out. But it won't be just you. There'll be an awful lot of people reflecting right now and going, I need to make a bit of a shift, because actually this isn't doing for me what I thought it was doing or what I thought I wanted.
No, it is. It's a fascinating time. So you touched briefly on, you know, planning and how difficult it is at this time. But do you think it is important for us to set ourselves some kind of goals, some kind of, I know planning is difficult, but should we have something that we are working towards so that we have got something to focus on, as you said earlier?
Yes, I think goals are massively important, and I hate using overused terms, but goal setting is fundamentally important to all of us, even if that just means that you do 20 minutes of yoga every day or you read that book. You know, every goal it helps us to create energy and focus and remove distractions. So goal setting is absolutely fundamentally important. Without any goals, you think about it, without any goals, you're just stuck in a holding pattern. You have to have some kind of goal lined up, or a series of goals. They're all going to change, by the way. Everyone's goals that they had a couple of months ago have completely changed right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. Goals will always shift and change. But I think goal setting is vital to keep us all going, keep us all excited and optimistic about what the future could hold.
And what about routine? Because obviously a lot of people's routines have been disrupted. I mean, I've always worked from home, so theoretically it shouldn't be disrupted, but of course my business has been disrupted. How important is having a routine?
Well, I hate routine. I don't like to do anything today that I did yesterday. However, I've discovered I like routine more than I realized I liked routine, because I'll go for a run, then I'll do yoga, then I'll do this, then I'll do this, and I'm actually rather liking my new normal. So I'm shifting on the routine thing, surprising myself. So I think routine can be important. Regime might be a different thing, but I think a comfortable routine and to get a rhythm of life right now can be quite comforting. So yes, I think if you can build some kind of routine, it is just a bit of a comfort blanket right now, and it will all change. We've just got to get, and you see most people resist change, don't they? They hate it. I actually personally love it. But everything will shift and change, and people are going to become more adaptable, more mentally tough, without even realizing that's happening.
Okay, so that's interesting, the point about change, because I love change, but I love change if I'm the one inflicting it.
Yes.
If it's inflicted on me, I'm not so keen. It takes me a while to get my head around it. So I've noticed that I'm not as productive in this time, even though I might say, you know, I have got goals and I've set that up, I have got some kind of routine. I still find I'm not achieving as much. Is that down to mental toughness, or is that down to disruption? Is there something, or should I just be kind to myself and say I don't need to achieve as much?
Yeah, well, you are an overachiever. You work extraordinarily hard. You work harder than most. So right now, the blanket's been pulled from under you, and you're not quite sure how to operate. You haven't got the stress and the pressure that you actually thrive under. So you're just a bit of a ship being thrashed around at the sea at night. You haven't got an anchor of any description. So you're bound to be feeling, you're nodding in that kind of way where, yep, that's exactly how I feel. And lots of people will be feeling this. You know, I love pressure. I know if I've got to write a presentation for somebody and I've only got 2 days to do it, I'll do a much better job than if I had 2 months, because I won't get round to it. I like deadlines, I like pressure, and I know you like that excitement and being under the thumb of it, under pressure. So when that's stripped away, it's easy to become unproductive. That's when distractions come in. And we think, well, I know I should be doing that, but actually I've got all day to do that, so I might just do this. And that's when distractions become, well, sometimes they're useful, sometimes they're not useful, and they sound like they're not being useful to you. So just understanding focus. And that's when the goal setting, they're all linked, of course. You set the goal, you get committed and focused. You're aware of distractions, but you don't allow them to take your head out of that tunnel. But unless the goal that you've set is really exciting, you're going to take every distraction that comes your way, aren't you? I mean, you know, if I don't want to clean the bathroom, I'll find 1,000 distractions to get in my way. So
I'm not sure cleaning the bathroom is a goal, actually. But,
no. But I've discovered that I've got to do it now because there's nobody else going to do it. So it is, unfortunately, one of those things I've got to learn to do and not put off.
Okay, I've got another big question for you here. Should we be making big decisions at this time?
I think we should be reflecting enormously. We can't, I'm not sure that, because it doesn't matter who you listen to on the radio, the news, the media, nobody knows what's going to come out. So you can make plans, but if you're going to make them, you've got to be prepared to shift them. I think thinking big, dreaming big, reflecting a lot is going to be enormously helpful, and having some plans in place that you know will shift and move. Anything more than that, I'm not sure, because nobody's sure of anything. So yes and no.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. Let me ask you another question here. I know you've been talking to people about being mentally tough. Have you found anything that people have in common? Are there qualities that people have in common? Or is it that they have a stronger belief in themselves?
Okay. Oh, see, I could talk about this for hours and hours. There are 4 components to mental toughness, and I have to mention them all because they're all critical. So the four elements are control. Do you feel in control of your life? Well, right now, probably people don't. But ordinarily, if you have that sort of growth mindset, I am in charge of my destiny. I'm not a passenger through life. I am in the driving seat. I know exactly where I'm going. That would be the sign of a mentally tough person. And that's the bit right now I think is going to be difficult for people. Then there's an aspect of challenge. You see every challenge that comes past you as an opportunity, not a threat. And this right now is amazing. So I spoke to a friend of mine who is an engineer at Red Bull Racing, Formula One team. I spoke to him on Saturday. He said, the most amazing things happen. We're making ventilators for the NHS. And did you know that the technology is 52 years old for these ventilators? From 1968 was the latest model, apparently. So they deliver one to Red Bull and they say, can you make some of these? And Red Bull go, what's this? We can do better than that. We can make it cheaper, lighter, more efficient, more amazing. And that right now, that sort of challenge has become a massive opportunity for Red Bull, for the NHS, for for the nursing world, for people's health and well-being. You know, it's just amazing. So seeing every challenge as an opportunity is an aspect of the really mentally tough. So whatever is going on, there is always a way to reframe it, take a different perspective, to shift, to see an opportunity. And then once you've tried something, to learn from what's happened. And then there's the aspect of confidence. Mentally tough people might have a very strong self-belief. You know, I believe I can do it. I feel like I have the ability to do this. And that's, again, that will have been knocked, I suspect, in the last period of time, as businesses are really struggling. And then, of course, there's commitment. So I've got this thing I want to do, and I am not going to stop until I do it. I'm 100% committed, not 99%, 100% committed, because 99% is not a commitment. Commitment is complete. So a mentally tough person would have all those aspects going on, but they're also very, very clear about why. That's something I've done a lot of research, a lot of interviews with really mentally tough, amazing people. They are very grateful. They usually enjoy some kind of physical exercise in some way, some sort of physical well-being, emotional well-being. So personally, I run and I do lots of exercisey stuff. The really mentally tough will do some form of fitness exercise. They keep physically in shape. They're pretty authentic. What you see is what you get. They look after themselves, but they understand why they're doing what they do. So there's lots of personality traits, and some, but we're all human. Every single one of those amazing people will have dips, and we'll all get anxious, but the mentally tough will deal with that anxiety maybe better than somebody who's more mentally sensitive.
Wow, fantastic. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. Thank you for that. And I've made some notes. I like that. That's really great. So tell me, on a personal level for you then, have you adapted your business, adapted what you're doing because of what's going on?
I adapt my business every day anyway, because I have to just keep myself excited, keep myself fresh, learn new stuff, new content, new aspect. I'm always moving and changing what I do. Right now, I'm really focused on these components of mental toughness, because I think right now it's really, really helpful to people to see, to understand what the concept is. And once you break it down into bits that people go, oh, actually, yes, that's the bit I need more of, that's really helpful. So right now, I'm in the thick of mental toughness, resilience, confidence, blah, blah. Going forward, I don't know what is going to be in most demand. I don't know. I mean, I know that a lot of businesses are still in crisis mode, still trying to understand tech at home and computers and productivity. That's really what's on people's minds. So right now, it's going to be a very different story for 2, 4, 6 months' time. I'm ready for it. I will be covering whatever it is people need. I'm just not entirely sure what it will be, because nobody knows what's going to come out of this and where we'll be.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what haven't I asked you, or what would you like to leave our listeners with as a final thought?
I suppose my final thought is where we started. Why are you doing what you do? When you understand that more clearly, any obstacles in your path, the challenges of this extraordinary time, will not be such a challenge, because you will start to feel more committed, more focused, and those obstacles will get smaller. Mentally tough people find a way round through everything. They will bounce back and go again every time. And I with this country needs to bounce back, and everybody needs to have that attitude. How amazingly exciting would it be if we could all bounce back stronger, more committed, more focused, more confident, and more excited than ever before. But it all comes down to why. Why do we do what we're doing? That's the source, that's the fuel that you put in your car. That's the source of your success. I really believe that. So that would have to be my final note, which is, discover the source and your mental toughness will appear.
That's a wonderful note to leave it on. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.